What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Ramblin Rams podcast. I'm James Cirillo here with Jordan Bear. Jordan, we are back. New week. It's going to be a long time until we get to see the Rams play regular season football again. I don't even know how many Sundays it is. I don't know if you know off the top of your head, but it's a lot.
30. I saw
30?
yesterday. We got 30 more Sundays until the start of next year.
Man, that's such a long time. I hate that. But I know we're a football podcast, but we got baseball coming up. We got some basketball and hockey. But, baseball is my favorite sport, actually. But I can't go this long without the Rams. I just can't. It's going to be painful. But we have something special planned for today. We are revealing our personal top 10 lists for 5 different offensive positions. That is the offensive line, tight end, running back, wide receiver, and QBs. So we are going to reveal our top 10 best players from both our personal opinions. I have no idea what Jordan put for his. He has no idea what I put for mine. So we're going to see how similar our lists are and what you guys think as well. And comment down below if you guys think we're crazy on some of our picks. Maybe if we're geniuses. Who knows? Maybe comment your own list if you want to. And maybe we'll post some clips of these and put them on our Instagram, which is Ramblin Rams. That's down here. You can find that below. But you want to start out with offensive linemen?
Sounds good.
Sweet. So how we're gonna do this is I'm gonna say my number 10, then Jordan will say his number 10, and then I'll say my number 9. He'll say his number 9, and we'll go back and forth until we get to number 1, and then we'll go on to the next position. So for my number 10, I tried not to be Rams biased, but I already have a Ram in here. Give me Kevin Dotson from the Rams. I have him in my top 10. I don't know if you have him in there. I had to put him in there. I put him just barely in at number 10. Honestly, I think you could argue he goes a little higher. I think he's our best offensive lineman, and we saw how much of an impact he had when he was out after that second Seattle game, how the offense was just like nowhere near as good without him, and you normally don't see that with one offensive lineman, but that's how much of an impact he has. So I have Kevin Dotson at number 10.
Funny enough, no secrets behind it or anything. I also put Kevin Dotson at 10,
No way. Let's
I
go.
swear, I felt like he is a top 10 offensive lineman. Like you said, he's the best offensive lineman in our team. And I tried to stay unbiased as well. Like, I think he's top 10, but I was like, okay, let me put him at 10. He is a guard, so I got a lot of tackles on here. So let's stay unbiased, leave the GOAT run blocker at number 10 right there.
There we go. Perfect. So we both have Kevin Dotson at 10. Everyone watching this is probably like, okay, I thought this wasn't going to be a Rams bias podcast, but they thought wrong. At number 9, I have Deion Dawkins from the Bills.
Okay.
I think that's pretty self-explanatory. He's one of the best offensive linemen in football. He's been that way for a while now. He's a tackle, correct?
I believe so, yes.
He's a tackle, yeah.
Yeah, he's great for sure. Great pass blocker for sure.
Yeah.
Good run blocker too.
Yes. So go ahead.
Yeah, at number 9, I'm projecting a little bit. I'm keeping it out in LA, but not with the Rams. I've got Chargers Joe Alt. I have a really high opinion of him. He got hurt last year, so he didn't get a lot of national praise, but I think he's going to have a great career and play for a long time.
Sounds good to me. I mean, I'm actually going to follow that up with my number 8 from the same team. I'm going to go with Rashawn Slater from San Diego or Los Angeles. We say that every episode, I feel like. But yes, the Chargers, we'll put it that way. I have Rashawn Slater at number 8. So I have Joe Alt's teammate. And he's at number 8 for me. Who do you got at number 8?
Yeah, I also have Rashawn Slater at number 8. Funny enough. Yes, I do. Yeah, I really like both of those tackles they got out for the Chargers. If they can stay healthy, they got a deadly duo blocking for Herbert.
Yeah, yes they do, and it's a shame because their offensive line was not the best this past year because it was banged up, and that proved in the first round of the playoffs and at the end of the season. I thought Herbert should have been in the top 3 for MVP. Because he had one of the worst offensive lines in football with Joe Alt hurt and all these guys hurt on his offensive line, and he still found ways to win ball games and get them to the playoffs. And he's got a very good coach now in Coach Harbaugh. I know that from firsthand as a Michigan fan. So I think they have a very bright future, and if they can stay healthy on that offensive line, they're going to be. I think they could be one of the top offenses in the league.
I
So
agree. Mike McDaniel, great addition for them.
that's right. I forgot about that. That's right. Do you want to go with your number seven first, and then I'll go with my number seven?
Number seven, I've got your hated Eagles, Jordan Mailata right here.
Mm,
He is just I don't think I even need to really go much into how great of a player he is. He's just phenomenal. He's a problem every time we play them. I know Jared Verse, he got some national credibility for just getting at Jordan Mailata. That's how good he is. Like if someone can just get after him, it makes national news.
yeah, absolutely. At number seven for me, I also have an Eagle, but I have Landon Dickerson at
Oh
number
wow,
seven.
okay.
So we have a very, by the way, we did not plan this like to put the same guys at all. I have no idea what his list is. We didn't give each other any information, and we have a very similar list so far. Similar teams. We had the same guy at number 10, same guy at number 8. I'm going Landon Dickerson at number 7. You went Mailata. Um, the only Mailata was hurt last year, and I'm not taking that away from him. He's still probably a top 10 offensive lineman in football for sure. I just went with I hate to say recency bias because I'm not a fan of recency bias at all, but I put Landon Dickerson over him because I didn't get to see enough of my Lotta last year. And I do watch a good amount of the Eagles because they're always on TV for me because I'm in Jersey. So if they're not playing at the same time as the Rams, I normally hate watch them. So I do have Landon Dickerson at number 7. At number 6, I have from the Denver Broncos Garrett Bowles.
Okay.
Um, he could have been a little bit higher on this list, to be completely honest. Um, I haven't seen too much of him because how often do I watch the Broncos? But I've heard a lot about him, and I know that he's definitely deserving of being on this top 10 list. Who do you have at number 6?
Number six, I've got another NFC guy. I've got Tristan Wirfs for Tampa Bay, another guy who dealt with some injuries, but like when he is on the field, he is just a freak of nature. He's one of the best tackles in football. Athletically, he is as unique as it gets, and I would love a player like that in LA. But Tampa's got a good one there for sure.
100%. At number 5, I have from the Kansas City Chiefs Creed Humphrey, their center. Uh, do you have him there too?
I have Creed Humphrey number five.
No
Ironically enough,
way.
I swear.
That's
Yes.
great. Yeah,
I think he's
he's
the best center in football. So
yeah, probably. So I think I have him as my highest ranked center. He might be my only center on here, actually.
I think me too.
Yeah. Okay. So we both have Creed Humphrey at 5. Who do you have at 4?
At four, I've got our worst enemy, the legend himself, the walking Hall of Famer, the 40 whiners, Trent Williams, big bad Trent Williams. He's older, but like I said, living legend. He's as good as it gets, and been the standard in the NFL for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I can't stand the guy, but he deserves to be on here. He's like you said, future Hall of Famer and one of the best in the league for sure. At number 4 for me, I have I don't even know how many rings this guy has at this point. From the Bears, Joe Thuney. I mean, he was with Kansas City when they won a few rings. I believe was he with New England as well?
Oh man, I think you might be right. Yeah, he had a specifically great year last year too.
Yeah,
So for sure, warranted selection.
yeah, and that was a big part of Caleb Williams' success as well. So, which we'll get to top 10 QBs in a little bit. Maybe he'll be on there, maybe he won't be. Who knows? We're gonna have to wait and see. But yeah, I have Joe Thuney at number 4. Who do you have at number 3?
Number three, I have Penei Sewell from the Lions. It gets tough, comparing positions, but this is my highest rated offensive tackle in the league. I think it goes without saying he's one of the best players overall, not just offensive linemen. He's a freak of nature. A lot of what goes right for the Lions is because of what he does.
Yeah. And that's such a big part of the Lions offense because we know from firsthand, we know Jared Goff is not best when he's under a lot of pressure from the defensive line. As much as I love Goff, I just think that's true. So having a guy like Penei Sewell on that offensive line is such a huge aspect for their offense. At number 3 for me, I have a guy you already said. I have Tristan Wirfs from the Bucks. I have him in my top 3. He's a big boy, that is for sure. There's not much else to say about him. You kind of already covered about him. I think where'd you have him at 6?
Yes.
Yeah, you had him 6. So I have him at 3. So we still have a lot of similar names, just in a little bit of a different order. Who do you have at number 2?
Number two, I have Joe Thuney. So,
There you
guy
go.
you mentioned earlier, a guy we talked about a little bit. Like I said specifically, he had just like an incredible year last year, and really helped correct a lot of issues that the Bears' offensive line had the season before. But him and Ben Johnson come in with former Ram Jonah Jackson, and they had that group running great. Their run game was. We talked about it a lot when we played the Bears. They had a
They
very
did.
unique run game.
They did. Absolutely. That was your number 2, right? Or was that your
Hmm.
number 3? That
That
was your
was
number
number
2?
two for me.
I don't know if I'm allowed to do this, but I might switch my number 1 and 2 because I'm kind of overthinking it now. At number 2, I'm gonna go Trent Williams from the Winers. I had him
Okay.
at number 1 originally. I kind of want to move him down. Maybe I'm starting to get biased just because that 49ers hatred. But like we said already, future Hall of Famer, not much else you can really say. I'm only putting him at number 2 and not number 1 because I think the guy I'm putting at number 1 is much younger and has a better future. And we see Trent Williams get hurt a lot. Not that that makes him a worse player. I hate when people say, like, oh, well, he was hurt last year, so he's not top 10. I hate when people say that. But I'm moving him down one spot because we haven't seen enough of him as much as this other guy. Who do you have at number 1 for your best offensive lineman in football, Jordan?
I have Quentin Nelson from the Colts. I don't know if that's. Do you have him as well?
I do. I have
Oh,
Quentin
okay,
Nelson number
excellent.
1. I
Yeah,
do.
just the Colts got off to such a great start last year, and Quentin Nelson's actually been great for a long time. All the way, I remember him battling Aaron Donald back in the day. That
I
was
remember that.
must see TV. You know, those are as good as it gets. So, highest possible opinion of Quentin Nelson. I'm a Dallas native, so shout out to former Cowboy Zach Martin. He reminds me a lot of
Oh
Zach
yeah.
Martin. When you watch him, they could be twins how they play. So all love to Quentin Nelson. He had Jonathan Taylor and that Colts offense running great this year.
I was actually going to mention it was weird not putting Zach Martin on this list because he retired.
Right.
So, but yeah, we saw Quentin Nelson against Aaron Donald week 2 of the year we won the Super Bowl. Cooper Cup had a big game. We ended up winning that game late in the fourth quarter on the road in Indianapolis. And I remember Quentin Nelson versus Aaron Donald was like a big deal
Yeah.
for a random 1 o'clock week 1 match or week 2 matchup. So that was pretty cool. On to the tight end position. Uh, you want to go first with your number 10?
Yeah, I'll keep it here in Dallas. Shout out another Cowboy, Jake Ferguson. He got
Okay.
off to a great start last year and was actually like projecting to break a lot of team records and Cowboys records for tight ends. He kind of slowed off towards the end of the year, but I still think he's a great tight end. Really good run blocker, good solid hands. When Dalton Schultz left the Cowboys, he filled in that role seamlessly, and he's got a good rapport with Dak Prescott. So I like Jake Ferguson at 10.
Nice, nice. I'm gonna stay in the NFC. I'm gonna go a guy who did get hurt this past season. We haven't seen him play in a little bit since the beginning of the year. From the Green Bay Packers, Tucker Kraft. Uh, I I think he's for sure top 10. I think he's their best offensive threat. Receiving wise, honestly. I think he's a huge part of their offense, and that's why I have him just inside the top 10. I would probably put him higher if he didn't get hurt. And I know I was just saying, like, oh, I hate when people say he got hurt, he goes lower. But I'm just not going to put him higher because we didn't get to see enough of him. I think if he stays healthy, he'd be higher on my list, which obviously isn't his fault. But we'll see. We'll see. I have him at number 10. Who do you have at number 9?
Number nine, I hatefully have to say it. I've got NFL champion AJ Barner right there.
Mm,
He was a bit of an unsung hero on the Seattle team this year, but he was. If you watch the Seahawks games, man, he was a killer. Him, and Darnold have a great 1-2, and he's tough. You know, when you think you have them stopped, and you got JSN and Cooper Cup and the running backs covered, AJ Barner will kill you. We saw it in the Super Bowl. He had a big touchdown. So
it's true.
was that the only touch? That was the first touchdown.
That was the
I
first
know they got
touchdown.
some touchdowns later on, but yeah, he had the first touchdown of the game.
He did. I remember watching that, and I thought, because on lined up on the right side was Barner and Cup for that play, and I needed a Cooper Cup touchdown
I
for my
thought it
parlay.
was going to Cooper Cup at
I
first,
thought
but
because they both went up to the right and then Cup like slanted to the left, but it was off camera and Barner like faded up right to the end zone. And so when Darnold threw it up right, I was like, Coop? No way. And then he caught it and it was like a white dude. So I was like, Coop, and then it was not him.
and
So
he was wide open too. There was
yeah.
no one around him.
Yeah, that's true. So I definitely got excited too early, but that's okay. At number 9 for me, I have Michigan Wolverine legend Colston Loveland.
I like
It
it
might be a little early to put him in the top 10, but we saw him turn up in the second half of the season. He had a great game against the Packers in the first round. He's such a good player, and I'm not just saying that because he's a Wolverine and I'm a Michigan fan. He really is talented, and I was saying it while he was at Michigan that I think this guy's going to be one of the best tight ends in football. I think the next few young tight ends, I don't want, I was gonna say the next few young tight ends that I think are gonna like be the next best tight ends in the league, but I don't want to reveal the top of my list, so I won't say it. But I do have Colston Loveland in the top 10. I know a lot of people are gonna say it's a little early, that he's not top 10 yet, but I think he is. I think he's very talented, and I think he's gonna prove that. Um, this upcoming season, the 2026-27 season. I think after that, I'm gonna give a bold prediction. I think Loveland's gonna be in my top 5 after next year. That's what I'm
wow.
gonna say. I'm really high on Colston Loveland. He is a great player. He's basically like a he's basically like a I don't want to compare him to Kelsey yet, but like just that kind of play style where he's like a really good receiving tight end.
For
Um,
sure.
so yeah, I have Colston Loveland at number 9. Who do you have at number 8?
Yeah, shout out Colson Loveland. I was debating him and Jake Ferguson for number 10, so I definitely
Mm.
got a lot of love for him as well. Number 8, I've got fantasy football legend Kyle Pitts. I'm not a huge Kyle Pitts fan, but just his receiving prowess, and he did kind of get it going this year. Finally, he figured it out a little bit, and that's with not the best quarterback play in the world. Like give Kyle Pitts a Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Matthew Stafford, and see how he rocks.
Oh yeah. I mean, he hasn't had. I don't want to say not a real QB because I don't want to take a shot at Kirk Cousins or Penix, but he hasn't had a consistent quarterback yet in his career. Really, like you said, if he had a Stafford or someone like that, I feel like we would see him get the ball a lot more if he was in a better what's the word I'm looking for? Like a better system, like the
Yeah,
Rams offense. I think we'd see Pitts thrive as one of the best tight ends in football. I do. At number 8, I don't know how you or anyone else is going to feel about this. I still think he's a top 10 tight end in football. I'm going Mark Andrews. I still think he's very solid. I think after that dropped catch in the playoffs the other year against the Bills, everyone was like, "Oh, he's washed." I think that was an overreaction. He's still a very good player. He still puts up good numbers. I have Mark Andrews at number 8.
I like it. I didn't have him in my top 10, but I got some love for Mark Andrews.
Yeah.
At number 7, I got another washed king on my list. I got Travis Kelsey, Mr.
Mm,
Swift. Travis Kelsey, you can't say enough about him. I know he's getting older, and I don't know for sure if he'll come back, but I kind of think he will. He hasn't officially announced his retirement, and I think he's still got a little bit of gas left in the tank. And when you watch the Chiefs play, actually, they still target him on defense all the time. Like they know where number 87 is, and if you don't, he'll kill you. I know he had some drops this year, but I have the highest opinion of Travis Kelsey as a player.
absolutely. At number 7, I'm going with T.J. Hawkinson. I had him in fantasy for a few years actually. I also had him this year. He was hurt. He came back the second half of the year, but it was actually Jawan Johnson that took his spot on my fantasy team because Jawan Johnson was putting up better numbers fantasy wise. I don't have Jawan Johnson on here. I had him just missing the top 10 because I do think he's very good. But yeah, I have T.J. Hawkinson at number 6. Who do you have at 7? Or I'm sorry, I have T.J. Hawkinson at 7. Who do you have at 6?
Yeah, shout out Jawan Johnson, Penn State guy, but I've got another Penn State Nittany Lion on my list. Tyler Warren might be projecting a little bit
Mm,
here, but I watched him a lot in college. My brother is a big Penn State fan, and he dominated that last year in college. And I think if you watched him for a while against us, he was making some big. I think he scored a touchdown against us.
I think
Whatever it
so.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Tyler Warren, I've got just the highest opinion of him when it comes to blocking, even running the football, receiving, and even passing it a little bit. He can just do it all. He's kind of like Taysom Hill on steroids. So I'm a
Yeah.
big Tyler Warren fan.
I'm gonna be honest, I completely forgot to put him in my top 10. I should have. And honestly, if I remembered him, he'd be in my top 5, and I forgot to put him in there. It's probably too late to change it now because I don't want to mess with it now. But yeah, I'm stupid for that. Yeah, that's a good shout by you. At number 6 for me, I have fantasy football legend Kyle Pitts. I think it was the fantasy football championship where he had like a monster game, right? Was it the
I think
championship or
so,
was it
yeah.
around before? I think it was the
No,
championship.
really just kind of the second back half of the year. He put up some great numbers for sure.
He did. He absolutely did. And like we said, put him in a better system and he would thrive.
Right.
That's one of the guys that I was saying with Loveland that are going to be like top 3, top 4 tight ends in a few years to come. When Kelsey's out of the league, Andrews is out of the league, Kittle, those kind of guys are gone, and you have the new young guns coming in and kind of taking over the tight end position in the NFL. I think he's going to be one of those guys eventually. At number 5, who do you got?
Number 5, I got another Detroit Lion on here, Sam Laporta, another guy who dealt with some injuries last year. But when Sam Laporta is on, he is on. And he is a tough cover, great receiver, great blocker. Got a little bit of Dan Campbell in him, so he's a tough guy. I really like Sam Laporta. He was a part of that Matthew Stafford trade. So I still
That's
like to
right.
think we came out on the better half of it. But no, they got a heck of a player in Sam Laporta.
I have him at 5 as well. I
Okay,
have
I
him at
like
number
it.
5. He was basically TJ Hawkinson's replacement in Detroit. I think a lot of people were confused why the Lions dealt Hawkinson for kind of cheap at the deadline that one year to Minnesota. And then they drafted Laporta, and boom, they had his replacement. And at least I do, I have Laporta ranked higher than Hawkinson on here. So definitely a good move for the Lions. He's a talented player, and I have him at number 5. Who do you have at number 4?
Number 4, I had someone you had earlier on the list, Tucker Kraft, another
Ooh,
guy who
okay.
got hurt this year. I might be projecting a little bit there too, but like you said, I think he's the best pass catcher on Green Bay and a heck of a player. Great hands, really big play guy out of the tight end spot too. So someone you always have to look out for. Jordan Love loves getting him the football, and I think he's gonna have a big year next year coming back from his injury.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. I 100% agree. At number 4, I have Trey McBride from the Cardinals. He's been phenomenal. I think he's been in the league 2 years now. Is that right?
Two or three,
It's been
something
2 or
like
3.
that.
Yeah.
He was, yeah, he had a great year though for sure.
Yeah, he had a great year. He's definitely a top 5 tight end. There's only so much you could say. Him paired up with Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be a very, very solid duo for the Cardinals if they can build a good offense around them, figure out their quarterback situation, and really, get their crap together. I should say honestly. So, yeah, I have McBride at 4.
Number 3, I've got another guy who got hurt. Unfortunately, feel like all these tight ends are getting hurt. But George Kittle, shout out another 40 Winers guy. Another guy who if he comes back from his injury and finishes out career good, could find himself in the Hall of Fame someday. He's had a great career. One of the best blocking tight ends of this generation, and yeah, we watch him every single time we play them, and he's always a headache.
I like it. I have a guy you already mentioned at 3. I have Travis Kelsey. I still
Okay.
have him. I still have him this high. He was the best tight end in football for the last probably 5 years, and people were comparing him to Gronk all time. And now all of a sudden he kind of had a he kind of, I don't want to say fell off because it's disrespectful, but he took a step back last season, not this season, the season before. He kind of took a step back, and I think people were writing him off a little bit. I still have him top 3 in the league. I don't know if he's going to retire. I don't know if he's played his last game as a Kansas City Chief, but he is one of the best tight ends of all time. I think you could argue he's a top 3 tight end of all time, as well as a top 3 tight end in the league right now. And we may have seen the last of him as well. So that's pretty impressive on his part. Uh, and yeah, I'm a big Swifty too. What can I say? So I gotta no, I have Travis Kelsey at number 3. Who do you have at number 2?
Number two, I have a personal favorite, one of my favorite players in the league, who I actually think could be one of, if not the best tight ends of all time when it's all said and done. Brock Bowers.
Mm,
Just that catch he had at the end of the season. I don't remember who they were playing, but it was insane. And he just, they don't even have a lot going on out there, so they know where they're throwing the football. Their O line's terrible, their quarterback's terrible. Pete Carroll had a horrible offensive system in place, and yet Brock Bowers still made it happen and look amazing week after week. So, once my guy Fernando comes around and we'll see what Gubiak or Kubiak, whatever, the
mhm.
Seahawks guy, he
Yeah.
brings a little bit of championship experience. So I think Brock Bowers, the ceiling is, as high as it could possibly be. I think when it's all said and done, he could be the best tight end of all time.
Wow. That's high praise. I like it. At number two for me, I have 40 Winers tight end George Kittle. I don't want to say much about him. I can't stand him. I'm going to be honest. I'll be fully honest. That's my Rams bias right there, but I will not be biased in saying he is a top two tight end in all of football. Uh, he's a guy that if he's on your team, you love him, and if he's not, it's like, oh, I can't stand that guy. Like if he was a Ram, I'd have his jersey for sure. I'd love him, I'm sure, but he's not. He's a 40 whiner, so I'm not a big fan of him, but he's a great player, and I have him at number two. I'm very curious to see who you have at number one.
Number one, I actually have Trey McBride from the
Mm,
Cardinals. He was right there. I remember week 18, him and Puka. I felt like we're trying to fight for, who could get more catches on the season. So when you're a tight end competing with a world class wide receiver, one of the best wide receivers in football, yeah, you've got something going right for you. And like you said, he doesn't have a lot of great quarterback play there either. So, Trey McBride, in my opinion, I think right now he is the best tight end in the league. I think if Brock Bowers was in a little bit of a better system, he could be better. But Trey McBride, he's not playing for the Seattle Seahawks. He's playing for the Arizona Cardinals. So he's definitely could be in a better situation himself.
yeah, I like it. I had him at number four, and I'm gonna say a guy that you already said, and that's Brock Bowers at number one for me. I I fully agree with you. I think he has the potential to be one of the best tight ends ever. I think he's already the best tight end in football. Um, I remember a few years ago I passed on him in fantasy because I didn't really need a tight end, and now I'm mad at myself because I wish I had him for the next 10 years or whatever it's going to be. But yeah, Brock Bowers is incredible. He's a great player, and I have him at number one, best tight end in football.
I like it for sure.
Do you want to go on to running backs now?
Yeah. We'll keep it with running backs, and I'm gonna project a little bit. Keeping it in Las Vegas with another Raider, I really like Ashton Genty, and I know he didn't have the best rookie season, but I think he's just a special player. And we as Rams fans, I'll compare this, and I thought this player was really similar to Ashton Genty. My guy Todd Gurley, I think,
Mm,
was a really similar type of player. And if we remember Goff's rookie year, Todd Gurley's second year, we were terrible, and Todd Gurley had kind of a bad season, and everyone was kind of writing Todd Gurley off like, maybe he wasn't that great, maybe his injuries got to him. Then Sean McVay comes next year, and he's the offensive player of the year. So I'm not saying Ashton Genty will be the offensive player of the year, but I think things will get better for Vegas, and I think he'll be a big part of it. I think he's got all the talent in the world. He's got great hands, and he's a great player, really unique player, really unique athletic set of skills. So I love Ashton Genty.
yeah, and I'm gonna agree with you. I also have Ashton Genty at number 10.
Okay, I like it.
So
I like it.
that's what the fifth player we've had at the same spot so far. That's funny. Yeah, we're gonna stay in Vegas. I had Bowers as my number one tight end, and I have Ashton Genty at number 10 for my running backs. So yeah, I love that comparison to Todd Gurley. And like you said, we're not necessarily saying he's going to be offensive player of the year next year. He's going to be the best running back in football, like Gurley was for a few years, quite some years ago. But I think his play style is very similar to Gurley. I think he could be that receiving back that you need, but he can also give you a nice, he can break one up the middle as well. Um, yeah, Ashton Genty, I have him at number 10. The Raiders, since Josh Jacobs left, they didn't really have their tight end, and now their running back, and now they do. So I think he's going to be much higher on this list in the next year or two. But since, like you said, he's not in the best system, we didn't get to see enough of him. I do have him in my top 10, but just barely. I have Ashton Genty, number 10. Who do you have at number 9?
Number 9, I got our guy, Big 2-3, Big Kyron. I swear I have had to have had Kyron Williams on my fantasy football team every year since he's come into the league, maybe except his rookie year since he didn't really play.
Mm-hmm.
But I've always said he is so underrated, and I know he's kind of had the fumbling issues, but I think he corrected that a lot this year, and he had a great year. He's kind of the most underrated running back in the league, in my opinion. And I know I got some bias because he plays for the Rams. But if you break down over the past 3 seasons, look at yards and touchdowns for running backs. I would be curious to see who has more yards and touchdowns than Kyron Williams. That's a very short list. That's like one or two, maybe three people. So
Yeah.
having him at 9, I feel like is very warranted.
I think that's valid. I'm gonna go Derrick Henry at number 9. Another one of those guys where we talked about this for a few tight ends where it's like, they would have been a little higher a few years ago, but now, I don't want to say they're starting to fade, but maybe. We also didn't see him play at all in the or not, I don't want to say at all, but like in the second half of that Steelers game to end the season, he just wasn't out there. And that's not his fault, but that was weird. I think we can agree. And there had to be a reason for it. That wouldn't happen with Derrick Henry even a year or two ago. So I do have him low in my top 10, but he's still a top 10 running back in football. I have Derrick Henry at number 9.
Yeah, number 8, I got Derrick Henry, so just one spot ahead of you. He had a great year statistically. I know he definitely you can see him starting to slow down. I don't know if he's quite King Henry anymore. Another little bit of a wash king right there, but wash Derrick Henry is still giving you 1,700 total yards and 15 touchdowns. So anyone's gonna take that. He is just a problem. He's huge. He's maybe a future Hall of Famer, and can't say enough about Derrick Henry.
Absolutely. At number 8, I have Super Bowl MVP Kenneth Walker.
Oh,
I could have put him much higher, I feel like. I tried not to be biased because I've had a one-sided beef with him because he scored 5 touchdowns in a game against Michigan when he was at Michigan State, and now he's a Seahawk. So now he's good against the Rams. So he's been killing the Rams in Michigan for the last 5 years. Um, but he's a great player. He proved that in the Super Bowl. The only reason I have him a little lower is because I I think even if he wasn't Super Bowl MVP, he's still top 10. Don't get me wrong. But I think just because he's Super Bowl MVP, people are kind of putting him a little higher. Uh, Now, don't get me wrong, Super Bowl MVP, big deal, one of the best awards you can win. But I feel like I need to see just one more year of him before I can put him a little bit higher. Could you put uh, Kenneth Walker in the top 5? Yes. Could you put him in the top 3? Yes. Right now, for me, not quite yet. I have him at number 8. I'm curious to see where you put him, though. Who do you have for number 7?
yeah, I did not put Kenneth Walker in my top 10.
Oh,
No
wow.
no personal shade. I have the highest opinion of Kenneth Walker. I think he is one of the best running backs in the league. I just didn't put him in the top 10 because I want to see where he goes. I don't want to say he succeeded because he was in the Seattle situation because he himself played great football. I just think like let's just see where he goes and let's like you said, let's give him another year. I definitely think he has top 10, top 5 potential. I mean, he was Super Bowl MVP, but I'll give him honorable mention 11 spot. But number 7, I had another Super Bowl champion on my list, Saquon Barkley, guy who's
Okay.
maybe going on the downhill a little bit like Derrick Henry, but I think Saquon Barkley is still, a killer, one of the best players in the league. Anytime you touch the ball as much as he did the year they won the Super Bowl, you're going to have a bit of a down year the next year. It's just how things work. You can't handle the workload that he did and just come back and do it all again the next year. It's not physically possible.
Yeah. Yeah. At number 7, I have Kyron Williams, our guy. Uh, if you were to ask me who my top 10 running backs were after week 5, that game against the Niners that we lost, where he fumbled on the 1 yard line, I don't think I would have had Kyron Williams in here at all. And I was just I was just so furious with him because of his fumbling problems. And my friends always joke with me and they're like, "Oh, what time do the Rams play?" Like, and I'll be like, "Oh, 4 o'clock." They'll be like, "Oh, okay. How many times is Kyron Williams gonna fumble?" Like, it's just like a joke that they have because I always used to, get all pissed about Kyron fumbling. But fun fact, he didn't fumble again this season after that fumble against the Niners.
Wow.
So I do have him in my top 10. I think I would have him in my top five, but I tried not to stay biased, and I do think there's guys better than him still. So who do you have at number six?
Number six, I've got Devon A. Chain, one of the best
Ooh,
pass catching receivers in the league. Him with Mike McDaniel was just killer last year. Another fantasy killer. It just seemed like every week he was catching it like 5 to 10 times. And shout out one of my favorite players, Marshall Falk. I've seen him and Gibbs get those comparisons, and anytime you get Marshall Falk comparisons, you're doing something right.
yeah. At number six for myself, I have a guy who I've had in fantasy for a few years now. I'm in a keepers league, and I've actually redrafted him 2 years in a row because it's five keepers, and he was like the odd man out. So I actually drafted him back, kind of as my sixth keeper. That's Josh Jacobs from the Packers. I had him when he was on Vegas or Oakland, whatever you guys want to call him, and now I have him as a Packer. He's a great player. There's not much else to really say. I have him just outside my top five. Um, I think you could put Josh Jacobs in the top five 100%. I have him just outside of number six.
Okay, I like it. Number five, I got James Cook from the Bills.
Mm,
One of my personal favorite running backs in the league. He had a killer year last year too. I want to say out of all running backs, he might have been either like first or second in total yards. So he was just killer last year. A lot of things. Josh Allen really leans on him kind of as his Robin to Josh Allen's Batman in that Buffalo Bills offense. So a lot of love for James Cook for sure.
okay, I like it. At number five for me, I have Bijan Robinson from the Falcons. I think he's going to be one of the best running backs in football for the next few years, along with guys like Ashton Genty and someone else I'll get to in a little bit that's on my list. But yeah, Bijan Robinson at number five. I really wish he didn't break that 90-some yard run against us that one week on Monday Night Football. Maybe I'd have him a little higher if he didn't get on my bad side, but nah, I'm kidding. But yeah, he's the top five running back in football for sure. I have Bijan Robinson number five.
Yeah, okay, I like it. Number four, I've got another 40 whiner. They keep popping up on this list. CMC,
Mm,
another living legend who I really, I counted out a lot. And he came back last year and proved me wrong. He was second in the year in Offensive Player of the Year voting behind JSN. So, CMC had a great year. He really carried what was a beat up 49ers team all year and just drug them to the playoffs and then beat the Eagles. So, shout out CMC.
yeah. At number four, I have a guy you already mentioned. That's Saquon Barkley. I think he had one of the best seasons a running back has ever had last season, and now this season. Obviously, like you said, it's really hard to duplicate that kind of season. He almost broke Eric Dickerson's record in 1984 for most yards in a season. He came up short because they benched him last week because they'd clinched the playoffs, they'd clinched the division. My dad was so happy because Eric Dickerson is his favorite Ram of all time, and he follows that record religiously every year. Uh, so I do have Saquon at number four though, because I still think he's one of the best running backs in football. I think he just has kind of been figured out a little bit more, and the Eagles' offense in total wasn't as good as the year before. Whether you want to blame Kevin Patullo for that or you want to blame whoever, you want to blame Jalen Hurts, you want to blame AJ Brown for his drama, whatever you want to blame. It wasn't just Saquon that had a step back this season. It was their whole offense. So I still think Saquon is one of the best running backs in football. If you were to ask me last year where I'd put him, I'd have him at one or two. Now I have him at number four. So still pretty high. Who do you have at number three?
I've got Jonathan Taylor, a guy for a lot of the year people thought was going to win Offensive Player of the Year. He was off to just a killer start to the season until the Colts kind of fizzled out. But I still think he's one of the best running backs in the league. Can't say enough about Jonathan Taylor. Another guy who just really just killed in the touchdowns. I don't know if did he lead the league in touchdowns this year? If not, he was right
I'm
up
not sure
there.
off the top of my head. I'm not
He
sure.
had a great year though. I want to say he was one or two in touchdowns this season. So
He was in
shout out
MVP
Jonathan Taylor.
talks. He was in
Yeah,
MVP talks first half of the season.
he had a great year for sure.
Yeah. At number three, I have one of my favorite running backs in football, my guy, Jahmyr Gibbs. Love Jahmyr Gibbs. I've had him in fantasy for a few years. He won me a championship last season. Uh, I can't say enough good things about him. Besides Kyron, he's probably my favorite running back in football. Or obviously Blake Corum too. I'm wearing his jersey. Uh, Gibbs is my favorite running back in the league that's not a Ram. I'll put it that way. He is a great player. I think by next year he will be number one on my list. I think that's the other guy that I was saying. Genty, Bijan, and Gibbs are going to be the next best running backs in football. You could argue Gibbs is already the best running back in football. I'm going to give him another year, but I have him at number three.
Yeah, and I got Gibbs number two, just right ahead of you. I think, like you said, he is one of the best players in the league. He's a killer wide receiver out of the backfield. You always got to pay attention to him. And when David Montgomery was hurt this year, Gibbs really handled that workload. So, shout out Sonic, big time performer.
I'm going to go who you had at number three. I'm going to go Jonathan Taylor at number two. I'm only putting him ahead of Gibbs because there's only so many guys that are in MVP talks that aren't QBs nowadays. He was one of them for a majority of the season. So I have him just over Gibbs, but you could argue that you could flip him like you did. I have Jonathan Taylor at number two. Uh, I'm very curious to see who you have at number one. I really hope I didn't forget someone big because I don't think we have the same guy at number one.
No, we don't. Someone you already said. I got Bijan Robinson number
Mm,
one.
okay.
He had a great year. Texas guy, so shout out that. Bijan is just a killer, man. You said it with that 97-yard run, and just not even just that run. Watching that game, his ability to make the first guy miss, man, it is just remarkable. He is just so tough. And like we said when we were talking about Pitts, he doesn't have a lot going right for them in terms of quarterback or coachings offensively. So shout out Bijan. I might be projecting a little bit, but I think going into next year, he's the number one rated fantasy players for a lot of running backs. So I like Bijan a lot for sure.
Absolutely. I'm going to go with a guy that we're not big fans of, but I think he's the best running back in football, and that's Christian McCaffrey. I still think he's the best running back in football. He's finally, I don't want to jinx the guy, knock on wood. I don't want to see anybody get hurt, but he's finally getting past all those injury problems that he had in Carolina in his first few years in San Francisco. I would love for the Rams to have a guy like this. He is their whole offense. They don't have, in my opinion, they don't have a top 10 quarterback on that team. Uh, they don't have really a superstar receiver as their number one receiver anymore. He's their whole offense. He's their best. I think you could argue after Kittle, he's their best receiver too, and he's a running back. He is
Yeah.
so good. So yeah, I have McCaffrey at number one for the best running back in football. Uh, Moving on to wide receivers, we have wide receivers and quarterbacks still to go. Who do you have at number 10 for your 10th best wide receiver?
All right, big guy in the news today. Tyreek Hill was released today, and
Mm,
I've got him number 10 in the list. He was hurt last year, but we all know who Tyreek Hill is. One of the fastest players in NFL history, and a straight killer. Beyond just fast. He's a all-time great wide receiver and one of the best players of all time.
yeah. I actually had him as kind of an honorable mention. I had him at number 10, and then I put someone else ahead of him, and that's Mike Evans.
Okay.
I think Mike Evans could have been higher on this list. He is getting up there, but how many seasons in a row did he have 1,000 yards? What was it?
Gosh, he like
10?
tied Jerry Rice or something for the
Yeah.
record.
The only reason he didn't get it this year is because he got hurt. He probably would have gotten it again. I have Mike Evans in my top 10 for sure.
All right, number nine, I've got someone from Mike Evans' draft class, our guy, the touchdown leader, Devontae Adams,
Mm,
getting up there in age, but even with missing however many games missed, he led the league in receiving touchdowns. So that's all I really need to say. Maybe not quite what we wanted to see from him in the playoffs, but I think injuries kind of slowed him down a little bit, and I think he's going to come back next year really motivated. I think him and Puka and Stafford will be working hard in the offseason, and I think he's going to come back and have another 10 plus touchdown season next year.
yeah, I'm really hoping he's a Ram again. He's
He's
officially
under
a free
contract.
agent.
Yeah.
Is he
Oh,
under contract?
I thought he was under contract for next year. I could be wrong on that. I thought he was locked up for next season as well.
You might be right. I think you're right. I
I,
think
I
it's one
thought it
more
was a
year.
2-year deal.
Because I think the people were only worrying that he wasn't going to come back because he said he's only retiring if Stafford does.
Yeah.
So now that
I,
Stafford's not, I think we can agree that Adams is coming back and he's going to be a Ram again. So I think it is one more year. I think you're right.
I think so.
At number 9, I have Terry McLaurin. I
Okay.
I would put him a little higher, but I feel like it's a bit tough to rank him above some of these other guys when before Jaden Daniels, how many different quarterbacks did this dude have? He had a million different quarterbacks, still not in a great system. Everyone was hurt last year on that offense. He didn't get to prove himself as much, but I would love to see him in a better system. He did at one point last year, last offseason, request a trade, and it just never happened. So I'm not saying I want him off the Redskins or Commanders, whatever you want to call them, but I would like to see more of Terry McLaurin for sure. I have him at number 9.
Okay. I like it. Number 8 might be slightly controversial. I got AJ Brown from Philly, at least for now. We'll see where he ends up going or if they decide to keep him. Kind of a bit of a head case. I compared him all during the week to Dallas guy around here, another Cowboy. He reminds me of Des Bryant, both
Mm,
in terms of their strengths and weaknesses. So Dez kind of had a big mouth. He also had big hands and big plays and made a lot of touchdowns and was really strong like AJ Brown. But they both struggled with having that big mouth and having some drops. So we'll see if he stays around with the Eagles. But I still think, obviously. We saw firsthand when we played the Eagles. He was the difference maker in that second half of the game.
oh yeah. We have some similar guys here. You mentioned AJ Brown comparing him to a Cowboy. I have a Cowboy at number 8. I have George Pickens. I think it was a really bad move by Pittsburgh for getting rid of him. I think DK Metcalf and George Pickens on the same team would have been great. They only got a third round pick for him in return. I don't really understand that. Maybe there's more to it behind it. I know he wasn't a great locker room guy, but George Pickens and DK Metcalf together, maybe. Now that I think about it, not the best thing for your locker room. Not the most humble, quiet guys. But yeah, George Pickens is incredible. I think he shows that every once in a while he has some insane cash. He had it against the Eagles actually this year. Uh, yeah, he's a great player. I have him at number 8.
Yeah, being out here in Dallas, I love me some George Pickens. Had him on my fantasy team. I think that's probably my dad, who's a big Cowboys fan, favorite player on the team, and I got him at number 7. I think he's a heck of a player and a great wide receiver. Talent wise, he is just a freak. Skill level, he's still got some room to grow, maybe in terms of maturity, but he's another guy. His ceiling is as high as he wants it to be.
Yeah. I have AJ Brown at number 7. So we
Okay.
flip our number 7 and our number 8. The only reason I have AJ Brown ahead of him is because I think he's a bit more consistent than George Pickens. But yeah, who do you have at number 6?
Number 6, I got Amon-Ra St. Brown, another Detroit Lion guy. One of the best wide receivers in the league, slot guy. Really, really kind of great receiver for his size, too. He's not the biggest guy in the world. He's probably not all that much bigger than me, but he makes plays like he's as big as anyone on the field.
Yeah. At number 6, I'm going to keep things in Dallas. We both just had Pickens. I'm going to go CD Lamb. I think he would be higher. I didn't love the year he had this year. I actually think George Pickens had a better year than him. I still think CeeDee Lamb's a better player. I don't think having one better year is going to put you ahead of your teammate. I have CeeDee Lamb at number 6.
Yeah, I couldn't keep CD Lamb out of my top 5. Being a Dallas guy, I've got the highest opinion of CD Lamb. Anytime you rock that number 88 here in Dallas, you're a straight up dog, and he's earned it. He's earned that 88 ever since they drafted him. He was great right away, and he's been great. He kind of had an off year this year, but he was hurt, and they had that whole Pickens thing. So probably George Pickens doesn't have, 1,300 yards and however many touchdowns if 88's not out there.
Yeah, it's very true. Who do you have at do you have him at number 5?
I had him at number 5.
Okay. At number 5, I have Los Angeles Ram, Devontae Adams. I
Oh,
think
wow.
I think
Okay.
you have to be top 5 if you lead the league in receiving touchdowns. I was very high on him this year. I will say when we first got him and he was Cooper Cup's replacement, I wasn't very happy, but he's grown on me. He's a great player. He's a future Hall of Famer, and I hope he sticks around for another year or two and finishes his career as an LA Ram. I have him at number five.
Yeah, I love Adams for sure. Number four, I've got maybe the best wide receiver in the league, but I got him here at four because the situation he's in, Justin Jefferson.
Mm,
Nothing needs to be said about Justin Jefferson. We all know who he is and what he does.
absolutely. At number four, I have Jamar Chase. Uh, Also, you know, he's in a good system offensively. Their defense in Cincinnati doesn't really back them up too well. You could say the same thing about CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens in Dallas. Uh, Jamar Chase, you could argue he's number one. I think same thing like you said with Justin Jefferson. You can argue him number one, but because of the situation he's in, and Jamar Chase, he's a great receiver, but there's also a bunch of good receivers on that team. So it's not like he's the only one, like kind of how Justin Jefferson is on Minnesota. You also have T. Higgins in Cincinnati, kind of taking reps away from Jamar Chase, which it's a team sport. I'm sure that's not a problem, but in terms of ranking top 10 receivers, I think it comes into play. So I have Jamar Chase at four.
Okay, and I have Jamar Chase at three. Go Tigers. I'm not an LSU guy, but him and Justin Jefferson are probably the two best college football wide receiver duo of all time. I
Yeah.
couldn't imagine it getting better than that. And yeah, same thing with Justin Jefferson. He is just, as talent goes, is as great as it gets. One of the best receivers in the league. Was a very tough matchup when we played him in that Super Bowl a few years ago. So shout out Jamar Chase.
At number three for me, I have JSN. I would have him higher, but he's only had 1 year like this. I think he needs to, if he doesn't need to do as well next year, but if he backs it up with another very good season, he'll be higher for sure. I have him at number three.
Okay, I number two. I hate to do it, but I tried to stay unbiased. I did have Puka Nakua, and
Mm.
if it was me choosing the team, I would take Puka Nakua on my team every day of the week, 10 out of 10 times. But I think just unbiasedly, I think JSN brings another element that Puka maybe doesn't quite bring. I'm not saying he's necessarily better than Puka. I think they're just slightly different. I think he had a slightly better year than Puka. They had almost identical numbers statistically. He won Offensive Player of the Year. He won the Super Bowl. He won the NFC Championship. So spoiler alert, had JSN one, Puka number two.
Okay, okay, I respect it. I have Justin Jefferson at two, and then I have our guy Puka at number one. I think Puka's the best receiver in the league. The other guys you can argue, Justin Jefferson, JSN, Jamar Chase. I think that's really the only arguments you can make, but I do have our guy Puka at number one. So to wrap things up, our top 10 quarterbacks, as of right now, as of February 16th,
That sounds right.
2026, uh, number 10, do you want to go first?
You go first. You start us off.
All right. I have Caleb Williams. I
Okay.
think he made himself a top 10 quarterback this year with the year they had. They were significantly better than the year before. He finally got a good team around him. Joe Thuney, some good receivers like a Dunze and DJ Moore. Uh, they also had, in my opinion, a top 10 tight end, Colston Loveland. They also had Cole Kmet. He finally got some talent around him, and he proved that he is a top 10 quarterback in football. So I have Caleb Williams, number 10.
I also have Caleb Williams number 10. I think with him, it's just all about potential and that clutch factor. I will still bring up that ridiculous throw he made against us in the playoffs, which should have never, ever happened in a billion years. But somehow, Caleb Williams, he just manages to pull stuff like that off. So, I think he's got a really bright future ahead of him in Chicago. So I got him at 10.
All right. At number nine, I have former Los Angeles Ram, one of my favorite quarterbacks ever, Jared Goff.
Okay.
I'm a big Jared Goff guy. I still think he's a top 10 quarterback in football. His first few years in Detroit, I had to argue with my friends and tell them I think he's a top 15 quarterback. I'm now going to say he's a top 10 quarterback. I'm very high on Jared Goff, like I said. He's in a good system. He does his job. They've one of the best offenses in football. Uh, it's always a shock if they don't put up more than 28 to 30 points a game because that's just how good their offense is. Yeah, Jared Goff, number nine.
All right, number nine. I'll keep it out in LA. Uh, Spoiler alert. For predictions for next year, I got Justin Herbert winning MVP next season.
Wow.
I think
Okay.
just with the tackles, Mike McDaniel's coming in, I think they'll get it figured out offensively. And I also take in Mahomes is going to miss some time next year with his injury, so the Chiefs are going to be a little shaky. I do think the Raiders with Fernando Mendoza will be better, but Bo Nix, they got the first place schedule, and Bo Nix is hurt too. So I think the Chargers have a big year next year. I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl. I think the other LA team wins the Super Bowl. But I think Justin Herbert has a big year and takes MVP next year.
I like it. I like it a lot. And at number 8, I'm gonna go Lamar Jackson. I think you could argue that he's higher on this list, but I'm not the biggest Lamar guy just because I'm not a huge fan of mobile quarterbacks. That's just like I just don't like how mobile quarterbacks are slowly changing the uh, way quarterbacks play nowadays. That's why I'm such a big Stafford guy, such a big Jared Goff guy. Uh, I do have him in my top 10 though. He's a two-time MVP. He deserves to be in the top 10. So Lamar Jackson, number 8 at number 8.
Okay. I like it. Number 8, I've got the second team All Pro quarterback this season and second place in the Super Bowl, Drake May.
Mm.
A young guy, and I was actually really high on Drake May before this season even started. I remember last year I watched him when we played the Patriots. I was like, this kid is crazy. Some of the plays he was making against us. So I've got a really high opinion on Drake May. I know he didn't have the best Super Bowl or playoffs, but he's really, really young, man. And I think he's just going to get better and better. And I think he's going to have a big year next year, too. And I think they could find themselves right back in the Super Bowl next year, potentially, ready to lose to LA.
I like it. I love that prediction. Number 7, I have a guy who I think should have been top 5 in MVP voting this year that nobody talked about. He had a phenomenal season. Offense was great. Team overall was not because of their defense. That's Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott had a great year. He is a great quarterback. And I would love, I know this isn't realistic, but let's say Stafford has retires after next year. I would love for the Rams to make a move for Dak Prescott to have him kind of like how we we traded for Stafford. Now we traded for Dak towards the end of his career. Maybe get him a ring. Just saying. I know you like Dak because you're from Texas, but yeah, I have Dak Prescott number 7.
Yeah,
I'm really
I
high on
didn't
him.
have Dak on my list. Just speaking on Dak really quick, I do know firsthand actually. Les Snead and McVay have spoken about Dak before, and they love him. So I don't think that's unrealistic for him to replace Stafford in the future. They talked about it before he had that monster payday, him coming to LA in the future at some point. This was a few years ago, but yeah, I love Dak. Number 7, I do have Sam Darnold, Super Bowl champion. I don't have the highest opinion of Sam Darnold, but what he accomplished this year, you can't argue with it. He won the Super Bowl, and he played great in the NFC Championship game against us, and he had a great season. He led the league in turnovers in the regular season. Postseason, he didn't turn it over one time. He won the Super Bowl. He made the plays to win it, and he beat us. So I give all credit to Sam Darnold. I don't think he could do it. He couldn't have done it without Kenneth Walker or that great team. But he won 14 games in Minnesota. They fell off. He comes to Seattle, who didn't make the playoffs last year, and they win the Super Bowl. So I give Sam Darnold all the credit in the world. I think he's got all the talent in the world. I think he's just, maybe not the best quarterback, but sometimes you don't have to be the best. You just have to be the best when your best is required. And that's what Sam Darnold did.
I respect it. I'm gonna go with the other Super Bowl quarterback at number 6, Drake May, who was the runner-up for MVP. You had him at what, 8?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So we already talked about him a little bit, but yeah, I have Drake May at number 6. I think he's gonna be a top 5 quarterback for years to come. Along with some other younger guys that we'll get to in a bit. But yeah, Drake May, number 6.
Okay, number 6, I got another Super Bowl champion, Jalen Hurts. I know you might not be the biggest fan, but I have so much respect for Jalen Hurts. Just in the big games, I've talked about it before. Man, Jalen Hurts is a big game killer, and I love big game performers like that, like your guy Cooper Cup, another big game performer. And, when they call on number 1, it seems like more often than not, he delivers for them. So he won his ring. He played great in their other Super Bowl, and I got him at 6.
All right. All right. Uh, Number 5. someone who I think could be higher. There's just so many good quarterbacks in the league or not so many, but there's a few really, really, really good quarterbacks in the league. I think this guy's one of them, and that's Justin Herbert, your pick for MVP next year. Uh, I honestly would have had Herbert ahead of Stafford like a year or two ago. I think Herbert is going to be a Hall of Fame QB as long as he can,
Wow.
get a good system around him. I think he's really good. I've been high on Herbert. I've had him in my top five for years now. So I have him just inside the top five at number five.
Okay, I like it. Number five, another guy who I'm hoping could maybe be a future Ram. Joe Burrow.
Mm.
We beat him in the Super Bowl a few years ago, so I don't have any ill will towards Joe Burrow. He is one of those guys, man, who when he's on, he is maybe the best quarterback in all of football because he is just that good. But he's just, whether it be the Cincinnati system, he gets beat up a lot, he takes a lot of hits. He's just never quite healthy, and I think he's a number one potential, but I got him at number five because of my health concerns.
Yeah. I have him at number four. So I'm
Okay.
going to agree with pretty much everything you said. I have him one spot higher. Um, the three guys ahead of him, I won't spoil it yet, but I don't think it's by a wide margin. I think you could put Joe Burrow anywhere inside the top four, whether that's one, two, three, or four. Four is the very lowest I would put Burrow. And going into this year, I had him probably at two or three. But yeah, I have him at four. Who do you have at number four?
Yeah, four and five were really tough for me. I put Lamar Jackson at four. I agree with your criticisms of Lamar Jackson. My thing with Lamar is he is just such an elite athlete. Maybe the best athlete from the quarterback position of all time, besides maybe Michael Vick or something. So, Lamar, two-time MVP, he just hasn't quite figured it out in the postseason yet. And I don't know if he ever will, but he got his two MVPs. He's a future Hall of Famer. He's going to make the Hall of Fame. And I just barely had him above Burrow. Those two are really close for me.
Okay. Um, I have your boy Josh Allen at number three. I wanted to put him higher, but there are two guys that I think are a little better. If I could start my franchise with any quarterback right now, you got to take age into consideration, health problems, all that. I might take Allen. I might.
I agree,
Yeah.
100%.
I have him at number three. Who do you got at number three?
Number three, I've got the legend himself, Patrick Mahomes, probably, in my opinion, the fourth best quarterback of all time. He is just, we don't need to talk about Mahomes much. We know who Patrick Mahomes is. He's been to five Super Bowls, won three of them. He's hurt right now, or else I'd probably have him number one. He's as great as it gets. The standard for not just the quarterback position, but the standard for excellence in all of the National Football League.
All right. At number two, I hate to do it, but I do have Matthew Stafford. I wanted to put him at one so
Wow.
badly, but I do have him at number two. Uh, I think you could 100% make the argument that he's the best quarterback in football right now. I tried to take everything into consideration. You know who my number one is going to be now. I may as well just say it. It's Patrick Mahomes. Uh, Mahomes has been the best quarterback in football for almost a decade. And I feel like him getting hurt at the end of the season, the Chiefs not having one good year, shouldn't take that number one spot away from him. So I moved Stafford up as much as I possibly could without moving Mahomes down. So I have Stafford at two, Mahomes at one.
Yeah, and I'll run through my top two right here. I've got my guy Josh Allen, number two. Like you said, he's, in my opinion, probably the most talented quarterback of all time. He has an incredible arm. He's got the running. He's got the MVP. He's just missing this thing right here. He's got the wedding ring. He just needs the Super Bowl ring. Uh, so I got Stafford or Allen two and Stafford one. Wearing the Stafford jersey. Obviously, we might
Love
be a
it.
little bit biased, but I don't think it's biased putting him number one. He is a Super Bowl champion. His concrete is solid. He doesn't need to do anything. He could go home right now, and Matthew Stafford is a Hall of Famer. I ranked him the 16th best quarterback of all time, and I think he's the best quarterback right now. He's our league MVP and the league MVP. You can't get any better than Matthew Stafford. I think he's the best player in the National Football League, and I think he's going to win the Super Bowl next year for this team. Go out sailing into the sunset, John Elway style.
Hopefully he follows, John Elway, Peyton Manning, those kind of guys. You can list a few that retired on top as a Super Bowl champion. Last episode, I guaranteed victory in the Super Bowl next year for the Rams. Might be a little early to say that. Definitely very biased, but it's not impossible. It's definitely a possibility because we know how good Stafford is. I had him at 2, you have him at 1, so he's one of, if not the best quarterback in football. Uh, but yeah, that's our top 10 list for offensive positions. We'll probably make another episode doing defense, whether that's next episode or the one after that. But one thing I wanted to talk about before we wrap things up, it's Rams related for the Ram fans out there. Uh, the Rams might be getting new uniforms and new logos. I made a video on the Ramblin' Rams Instagram and my TikTok, Jay Torillo, if you guys want to check it out, on what I thought the Rams uniforms should look like and what their logo should look like. What do you think about all this? Is there something specific you want? Do you not want them to change it? Do you want them to change everything? Just run me quick through your thoughts about the whole situation.
Yeah, I saw your video and I liked some of your ideas for sure. I have heard people talk about it. I kind of think that we might do the black jerseys as our primary. I could
Really?
be wrong on that, but we'll see. We'll see. I've heard that rumor, but in terms of the logo, I kind of heard it is going to be more old school, like classic 1960s Rams, and I've been seeing them on their Instagram drop little hints about the fearsome foursome days.
I did see
So
that.
I don't know if that's kind of coincidental. I don't necessarily believe in coincidences myself, but I could see, you talked about it, the old white helmet with the blue horn, 60s throwbacks. I think that would be sick as an alternate jersey, and then rock the black jerseys as a primary, and maybe let's get like a white jersey for away jerseys or something, or maybe a bone jersey, bone in black and blue, because I actually always really liked the bone color. So
Okay.
I'm interested to see what they do. I'm a big jersey guy, so I'll definitely keep my eyes open and see what the logo is going to be too.
Yeah, I'm really excited for it. For anyone that didn't see the video I made, I had the Rams throwbacks being their home. This is my prediction. This is just what I want. The blue throwbacks, I had them as their home uniform. The white throwbacks with like the blue and yellow on the sleeves, I had that as our away jersey. Our alternate would be the black midnight jerseys, and then our throwback would be the fearsome foursome '60s navy and white. So that's what I'd want it to be because I love the black jerseys, but at the same time, I wouldn't want it to be our primary because the Rams are supposed to be blue and yellow. I don't mind having a little bit of black in like a alternate jersey. That's fine, but as our primary, I wouldn't want that. As much as I love that jersey, we're a blue and yellow team. Wearing black once, maybe twice a year is fine, but I think we should stick to blue, yellow, and white. That's my thoughts. And then I'd love to have I was gonna point to the logo. I'm not wearing it though. I would love to get this logo I am wearing. This I want to get rid of and have the St. Louis Rams logo as our main, but switch it to these colors. I
Okay.
think that would be perfect. Uh, and then maybe you can keep this as our alternate logo. That's fine. Maybe have the logo on your hat as our alternate logo. Doesn't matter to me. I would love to see the St. Louis Rams logo back, but I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to go old school and they're going to go back to that 60s like really old logo and they're going to have that as our secondary or our throwback logo. And I think your predictions on that the stuff they've been putting on Instagram with the 60s highlights and stuff, I think they're hinting at a throwback jersey with the white and navy. I think they're going to do it. So, it's going to be really exciting to see what they do. But yeah, Jordan, any last thoughts before we wrap this up?
Yeah, just really quick, I had mentioned it on my top 10 receivers. Tyreek Hill got released today, so that's interesting for me. We've talked about a lot, and I'll continue to talk about it. I'm curious to see who we get for that third wide receiver. And I know at first thought people would be like, well, we already have Puka, we already have, Devontae Adams. Why would you want Tyreek Hill? But here's where my thought process is with that. I see him coming here in somewhat of as an Odell Beckham role. A touchdown guy, a big play guy. And Adams and Puka, we've talked about it. Those aren't burners. Tutu was supposed to be the burner. And they've tried Xavier Smith in that burner role. Okay, well, who's the fastest wide receiver in the league? If it's not Tyreek Hill, he's got to be right up there.
Yeah.
And not only that, he's one of the best wide receivers of all time. So you could get him to come in with Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua. I mean, that sounds pretty good to me out in LA. I know Tyreek Hill would love that. He loves that sort of shine and lime life. He'd love to play with Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay. It's the perfect situation. You're in LA, you have the league MVP, you have Sean McVay, we got Cliff Kingsbury now. So I'm motioning for Tyreek Hill to come out in LA. Let's get this ring. I said, let's go all in. Let's go all in. Let's go get Tyreek Hill. Let's not play around with this thing. We want to have the best wide receivers in the league. No one's beaten that three-headed monster of Hill, Puka, and Adams.
Wow. Didn't it didn't really cross my mind that the Rams would even think about getting Tyreek Hill, but if you put it like that, then I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I'm not a big fan of Tyreek Hill off the field. I don't think he's a very great person, but I think you know, I'm gonna be honest, I wouldn't want him on the Rams just because I'm not a fan of him personally. But as a player, he is great. I wouldn't mind him being a wide receiver three at all. But yeah, I like the comparison that you made with OBJ, kind of like at the end of his career,
Right.
not in his prime really, but he's just like that. He's like that third option that we had behind. Well, he was really our second, kind of our second option after Robert Woods got hurt that year.
Right.
But
Well, we brought him in with Robert Woods, and then Woods got hurt right away, so he was
yeah,
kind of thrust into that role. But yeah, I think Tyreek Hill too has always wanted to kind of win without the Chiefs, and he needs a good area, a good culture. He needs to be around good people like that with the Rams to fix
100%.
his off the field stuff for sure.
Yeah, I think they could definitely fix that because I can't remember the last time the Rams had somebody that was like, a big diva. Like we know OBJ was like that, and then he came to the Rams, and all of a sudden he was fine. Uh,
Exactly. Yeah, McVay's good with those types of people for sure.
and I don't think the Rams would let any of that slide. Like Cam Akers kind of like was a bit, didn't love it, and they were like, all right, we're done with you. See you. Like I think if
Yeah.
that were to ever happen with Tyreek Hill, they would do the same thing. It's like, all right, if you're gonna act like this, then see you later. Um, Speaking of divas, I don't think Puka's a diva, but I do want him to shut his mouth a little bit on social media.
Yeah.
I'm not loving what he's been doing recently. I had him as the best receiver in football. You can talk smack when you're on the field and whatever, but he's been running his mouth on Instagram Live and, out in public, and he's like, "Oh, the Seahawks better learn how to play defense against me." Like, we don't need to motivate the Super Bowl champions anymore.
Yeah.
They beat us twice this year. We do not need to motivate them anymore. So, I
Yeah. Yeah.
uh I I need him to kind of tone it down a little bit. Maybe take a page out of Cooper Cup's book and, just don't say a word and just go out there and have your game do the talking.
Yeah, I saw one of my personal heroes, Isaac Bruce, talk on Puka over the weekend, and he was like he needs to not only protect himself off the field, but on the field as well. So, quit, running your mouth. I saw him running around drunk on TMZ. I don't like that.
No.
And off the field, Isaac Bruce was just saying, be mindful of some of those hits you take. I know Puka's a physical guy, but let's be smart. We can be the best receiver in the league and be smart about it at the same time too. Let's hit that next level of maturity.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to see him mature a little bit, maybe by next season. He's already the best receiver in the league, in my opinion. I think you had him at number two, so
I
top
did.
two, if not number one. Uh, but yeah, he's got a bright future, and hopefully we can win another ring next year. But yeah, that'll do it for this episode. One of the first episodes, I think, second episode of the off season in the books. But yeah, you guys can follow us on Instagram, Ramblin' Rams. We post our clips on there, and we post Rams content all the time. You can follow me on TikTok. It's Jay Torillo. I'll post Rams content on there as well. Jordan, you want to let them know where they can find you?
Yeah, just at J_bear _03, I believe. So yeah, give me a follow. I'll post some Ram stuff on my story and repost all the time.
Yeah, sounds good. Well, that's been episode 18 of the Ramblin' Rams podcast. Thank you, everybody, for watching, whether you're watching on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you find our podcast. If you could subscribe if you're listening on YouTube, we'd really appreciate it. If you could like the video just to get it out to all the Ram fans possible, we'd really appreciate that. And if you watch this whole episode over an hour, it's the longest episode we've ever recorded. If you've watched this whole thing, then shout out to you. Thank you so much. And we will see you guys next Monday. Peace.
Horns up.